What's going on, everybody? And we are logging on to episode 166 of the podcast. We got a very special episode for you guys tonight as we're doing another spotlight interview. These spotlight interviews are all about interviewing people that are in the creative fields, no matter what it is, reading, writing, music, film, anything of that nature. And with that said, we got a very special guest for you tonight. We have a DJ. We haven't interviewed a DJ since James Yeager, I believe, which was a very while back, but we got another one here tonight in the house. We got DJ Stevie G. Thank you for being here, my man.
How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man.
It's great to see you as well.
Absolutely.
I thank you for doing this when I hit you up and you were interested in doing this and everything like that.
Absolutely.
And I'm ready to get going and to start rocking and rolling with this.
Let's do it, man. I'm ready. Let's get it.
We talked a little bit about it before, but New Year's just passed. I hope you had a very happy New Year, very happy holidays as well.
Yeah, you too.
And thank you. I work at the post office now, so it's actually a little less enjoyable than enjoyable because the packages are crazy and everything like that. But otherwise, still a very successcul holiday.
I love that.
I hope the same for you too, man.
Absolutely.
We're also sporting some from my New Year's Eve party. Some fresh. What do you call these? Like light bands? Like what do you?
Yeah, I guess glow necklace.
Glow necklace.
Glow necklace,
in the spirit of interviewing a DJ, we are wearing.
I love it.
These
We're
tonight.
in the move.
We are in the move. Absolutely. So yes, Steve is a DJ, also a music producer as well. We're going to get into all questions about that, what gets him going with it, what keeps him motivated, things of that nature. And most importantly, and what I'll start off as the first question, what got you started with it? What was the thing that got your interest into this field of music, specifically EDM? And then we'll move on to like the Jersey Club and stuff after.
So my family is like just super musically oriented.
Nice.
Just the entire family, my cousins, uncles, aunts, like just about almost everybody. I'd say about 90% of the family has some kind of musical ability or talent. So it's always been something I knew I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Just not sure of the field, you know.
Okay.
But of course through high school, Frio Township, of course.
Yes.
There was that really big surge of like EDM fandom, like from I guess maybe around 2010 to 2012-ish, that time.
Yes,
it
big
was
time.
Huge, And it was like, even if you weren't really a big fan, you were going, you were doing it, you were experiencing it. So, that era was where more of it shifted to like, all right, this is something I like to do. Like, I like to go, I like to do it, and like, you sit in the back, well, at least I would sit in the back of the festivals or the shows, and then you just hear the music, and it's like the whole time just sitting there like, I want to do this, this is awesome.
Yeah. I
just hear music, and I just, I just really wanted to do it. So something I just made sure I tried my hardest to do, and that's where it started.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the festival aspect of it, because that's really where I always liked EDM, but I really fell in love with it when I heard it live, was there live. The vibrations from the speakers, the bass, everything of that nature. And it doesn't even have to be like hard like dubstep, like just those like good vibrations from the people and the music. It really is an incredible feeling. It captured a lot of people's hearts with that. I think that's where that big hype or the surge of it, the popularity has come from back in the day, like in 2010 and whatnot.
Yeah, and there was also that weird era where it was like parties are getting shut down. You really couldn't do anything in a place where it was either safe or fun because of not having parents and stuff around. I think all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So it's like you can go to this place, this festival or this show, no parents, no nothing, and just really have a really good time and really enjoy yourself. So I think that's what kind of pushed that era. And I loved it, man. That was a good time.
I think it captured a lot of attention.
Absolutely. And of course Project X came out, and that was huge.
Oh my god! People recently watched that the other day.
I say people don't really like put that into like perspective, but Project X really did help the EDM scene in a crazy way,
dude.
Yeah, like people were like, we're just really trying to live that dream and that aspect, and I think, man, that did a lot.
Let's even talk about the music in that movie. Heads Will Roll was a huge hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge hit. And the other one, the Kid Cudi song that was remixed in there.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. I mean, those were huge hits at festivals because I think because of that movie.
Absolutely.
Huge influence. I'm glad you brought that up. Absolutely. So, all right. So you fell in love with the music after going to these festivals and whatnot, and also because of your family, which I'll bring that up for a sec too. So, instrument-wise, like music oriented, or
so everyone has got a whole bunch of different things.
Cool.
Some people are singers. Some people, my cousins, are drummers and bass players and everything. So I was always more percussion, drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was my thing. But man, with the whole family, you could have
everywhere.
Everything. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I actually love that.
Awesome.
You know, it kind of reminds me of, that gives me like a Jackson 5 sort of vibe. Like everyone had their own thing sort of deal to do with it. Has your family ever like jammed together and whatnot?
So actually, my mother is like the leader of the praise and worship team at the church.
Oh, very
nice.
nice.
So then my cousin's the drummer, my uncle, everyone kind of has. So yeah, jamming as far as that's been since I was a kid almost.
Hell yeah.
Not so much me. I haven't really jammed with my cousins, yes, not with the full family, but yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time.
Awesome. Like during holiday events and whatnot?
Honestly, during holidays, yeah, singing and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, we're so extra. Super extra.
Believe me, I'm a little extra like that.
Yeah, it's cool.
Dude, Christmas Eve, we used it. This was the first year we didn't do it, actually. But every Christmas Eve, me, my sister, and my cousin would perform like a song or two. I would be on guitar, and both of them would be, my cousin and sister would be singing. We'd choose a song, rehearse it, and practice it for like 30 minutes tops. Just learning the song, and we would perform it to the whole family.
Love that.
Sure, it wouldn't be perfect, but everyone loved it, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
It's a fun, it's a fun thing to do.
Absolutely.
So I could somewhat relate to that, and I love it. I love it. You know,
Awesome.
One of the main reasons why I love it is because of the joy it gives to other people, and I'm sure that's a big part of why you perform music and whatnot as well too. Just seeing the reactions and the hype and excitement of the crowds out there.
It's amazing.
It has to be one of the best feelings for you for actually being out there at these venues and everything like that, doing that. One of the things I wanted to ask you before we get into more in-depth stuff, places you performed. Could you list off a couple of places and maybe some of your favorites too of where you like to be at?
Favorites. So in London, there's a place called Ministry of Sound, which is like one of the birthplaces of house music. Played there. Was very blessed to do that. My friend Doug with Sound put me on a show out there.
Yes.
So he's a good friend of mine. So yes, thank you, Doug.
Yeah.
That was a great experience. As far as America, all over, man. I've done some big venues, Avalon or Academy or what's the big one? Palladium in LA. Just some really big stuff like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, all over. Those have been my favorites. Webster Hall, of course, I did Webster Hall.
Yeah.
And that's just legendary from a standpoint from when we were young.
Yes.
Webster Hall.
Yes.
I didn't get to do it at that time. I did it way later, but still, it's like, this is Webster Hall.
It's the place.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So that would be my favorites for sure.
Awesome. And now traveling seems to be a big aspect for you as well as far as all the performing. I mean, the first thing you brought up was London. I was like, oh, damn. Okay. You know
it was awesome.
I mean? Yeah. So the traveling aspect of it, how do you deal with that basically as far as preparing and mentally and physically preparing, packing and everything like that, what to bring, what not to bring for a trip like London and whatnot? What's your process as far as what equipment to bring?
It's always different. So like London's would always be a different thing. If I'm going to go to London, I'd be staying with someone I know or something like that. Most of the time it's going to be within the country. Usually like DJs, it's never like a long trip. If someone books you, it's never like, hey, we're gonna book you, give you a hotel room for a week. It's like, we're gonna book you, we're gonna have you come for the night, and then fly you home in the morning.
Right. It's usually for the night.
So like,
right?
I'm usually most of the time, you'll have a laptop or whatever, but I use USB. So sometimes I'll even just already have my USB.
Yeah.
Have it in my book bag. I just land, perform, and then go home.
Yeah.
So it's not too much actually. It's usually pretty simple.
That's a nice perk of it, I think.
Yeah. It's
because
really nice.
it like in compared to like being in like in a band where you need to bring the drums, the guitars, and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to pay for that kind of stuff to travel with.
100%. 100%. That's where like the roadies come in and everything like that. You know what I mean? But that is a convenient factor of it. Now, let's go back to when you first fell in love with the music and whatnot, EDM. When did you start, like, let's just say year-wise, when did you start playing around on, like, a scratch board or something like that?
So, DJing I did during high school. I started, I want to say, my sophomore year.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, it was like, I just want to do this.
Yeah.
So, there was really no one doing the assemblies in school, all that kind of stuff. So, it's like, you know what? No one at the time was doing it.
Right.
So, I was like, I'll get a deck, started doing it, and just started having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Because again, I always liked the music, and DJing was never something I thought about doing. But as soon as I began doing it, it was like, okay, this is great. Yeah, this is it right here. So, that's kind of pretty much how it went, how it started, and then
How would you say that it progressed for you? Would you say it was a quick progression in becoming good at it, like really good at it, or would you say it took a lot longer?
So, it's tough. So when you first start out, like EDM's a little different. So when you first start out, it's called open platform. That's what they call it. So open platform pretty much means you're playing everything. So you're playing house, you're playing hip hop, you're playing top 40, Kesha, happy music, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like that's a little different because you have to know your how the songs come in, how they go. It's a little different.
Right.
So that took some time, especially because when you first start out, you're on this really cheap, turntable on a really broken program. It's like just not good. So it definitely takes time. It takes time. You really can't escape that kind of practice.
No.
But it's one of those things though. Once you have it, you're good. As long as you understand your music and your song selection, that's really the biggest thing.
Yeah.
But once you have the technical skills, you're good.
Right. And I would even say it is better off using like a broken system or program at first too, because the harder it is for you in the beginning, it's like getting thrown into the fire with something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But once you are thrown into the fire, you almost become like almost a master or really get to know the ins and outs of it. Mm-hmm. And then when you get into a better program and whatnot, a better software or whatever, and it's much easier. It's like, oh, now I can do even more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's 100% how it went.
Yeah, good. I'm glad to hear that. What are like some of the good softwares out there as far as let's just say mixing? I know is Apple Beats or no? Is it called Apple Beats? No, I think it's Alphabet or something or something like that. No,
I'm not too sure. I
might be even saying it wrong. But what are some of the softwares that you started off with, and then what you are using now?
So DJing, we'll do DJing and production. DJing, I started on Tractor. Tractor is it's a program by Newmark.
Okay.
Very dated. Some people still use it, but it's very dated and honestly just you'll never see it in a club. So
sure.
It's the main thing is Serato. Serato's like the number one software. It's pretty much just club standard. Like if you're DJing on Serato, or at least have DJed on Serato.
Yeah.
That's like the main software. You really will rarely ever see anything else. Unless you try yourself to do so. Right. You can bring your own laptop and stuff. As far as production, that was at first Logic, and then actually I was on Logic for a long time, and then my laptop blew up. Got rid of Logic, and then now I'm on Ableton.
That's what I knew. It was like Alphabet or something. Ableton. That's what I heard.
Ableton is now what I'm on.
Yeah.
That's also cream of the crop. It's just such a nice software.
Nice.
It's very clean and it's very cool.
Very nice. Would you say that's what most DJs use nowadays?
Production wise, it's so different. Like EDM, yes, I'd say hip hop producers will usually use Fruity Loops.
Okay.
If you're doing recording vocals, you can probably use Pro Tools.
Yeah.
It's kind of just different benefits for different kinds of music.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure depending on what you're producing or even performing or whatnot, you'll switch off from whatever ones to choose from. Fruity Loops I've heard of, too, actually. I've heard of them, weirdly enough, through... Have you ever heard of the Epic Rap Battles of History?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah,
I love those.
Those are sick.
And they're still kicking, too. It's amazing.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's amazing. But I learned... a while ago, and I don't know if they still do, but they used Fruity Loops to make beats for their stuff too.
That was for a long time. That was the thing.
Yeah.
It was it was the mecca for a little while.
Yeah, for sure. And also, and you probably know this too, as you know them. That as silly as those videos are, very high production in both the music and editing field. It's actually beautiful.
Yeah.
How they do things over there. Yeah, so, all right, let's talk about this now. The producing side of things. When did you transition, or not even say transition, do both? The DJing, and then you was like, you know what, let's start producing my own stuff, or even for other people, too.
So, actually, I went to school at Bloomfield College, which is like near Montclair. If anyone went to school around there, not my roommate, but a guy down the hall. I recognized him the first day. It was I want to say it was like freshman orientation.
Yeah.
Recognized him as a guy that made music just from Jersey Club stuff that I was a fan of.
Oh, get out.
Recognized him, and I was like, we became really good friends. Just so happened to be a couple doors down, and I just told him I wanted to learn.
Yeah.
He just almost gave me his laptop and was like, "Hey, do your thing." He told me how to do it. I knew how to get into his room, so he'd be sleeping. He'd wake up, I'd be in his room.
Yeah.
And I'm just on the computer going ham.
Yeah.
So I was just so like enamored by it, just immediately. And then made my first couple songs, put that out. Reaction was good. Started meeting some people, and then before you know it, just snowballed. It's something I just really now it's like it's my life.
I think that is incredible. It really is incredible for something to snowball into something that it's greatness. It's snowballed into greatness, basically.
Absolutely.
Just from the places you've been and performing with these crowds and whatnot. I see some of your pictures on your Instagram and everything like that, and the crowd seems to be loving what's going on. I also see you as a big hype man for yourself, and it says, I see you with the mic on stage, probably yelling at the crowd and everything like that. I would love to go to one of your shows too. You gotta let me know.
Yeah, you gotta
let me know.
That's easy. That's easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And really see the cream of the crop right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, you seem to have a good presence on stage, and how important is that to you to get the crowd going? And actually, let's start off with that question, and then I have another one. Let's start off with the question of how important is it to get a crowd going, and what time in the performance is it like? How do you get them going?
So it's actually super. So like, all right. So there are DJs who like their thing is that they're like super like avant-garde and mysterious.
Yeah.
Cool. But for the most case, like, it's an energy feed almost. Like, you feed on the crowd, they feed off you.
Yes.
Now there are some sets where I'll just be so into the thing, to my my decks and stuff that I'll forget, and then you can almost see the changes when you do so.
Right.
When you look down, and even if the song's good, people are watching you not move. Mm-hmm. So it almost like just instinctively they don't.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, if I'm in the front, I've got a song playing, I'm like hype people up when it comes, I'm jumping, whatever. They just follow almost.
Yes.
And then before you know it, everyone's happy, everyone's having a good time. Then by the time the show's over, they're like, man, that's such a good time. They don't even know what happened. They're just like, that was just a lot of fun. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
I think the only reason that even works out now is that, doing the drama and stuff in high school.
Yeah.
And doing all the assemblies and stuff like that.
For sure.
It just completely like killed any kind of stage fright.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing.
Probably a big help.
I know a lot of friends who like DJs for a while and still do, but like they're just not good on the mic because it is an awkward thing at times if you're not comfortable with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that just made it so like I can just hop in front of anybody and just talk, and have a good time.
Yeah.
So that it kind of all just worked out, but it's definitely super vital, I think, to keep the crowd and energy. Keep the crowd engaged and keep the energy high.
I 100% agree. It's weird for me because, I have the podcast and everything. I love to talk. I'll talk for hours on end. But when it comes to, like, being in front of a huge crowd and I know my goal and job is to hype people up, I almost get I get really shy. Like, I'm shy and scared that I know I have good energy, but like the energy I give out to them is gonna fail, and they won't be as hyped up. Mm-hmm. Like, have you ever had that stage fright? I know you said the assemblies and everything that was good practice, but do you still ever get those jitters or whatnot now? Like maybe in the beginning of performances?
Man, you know what? It's tough. It's like very rarely.
Yeah.
It always just depends on the situation. If it's a really big venue.
Yeah.
Or if I'm playing for or opening for someone really big. Right. It's like, all right, this is very important. There are, but honestly, to be honest, like I always say with my friends, like as soon as I hit play, it's like,
yeah,
everything's gone. I'm here.
Yeah.
I almost don't even know what happens. An hour from now, I'll get tagged, like, you're done. And I'm like, oh.
Right.
I almost don't even remember what I played.
It's almost like a blackout.
For real. Seriously, it is. And then my friends, like, usually they'll record the set and I'll listen back to it. And then the day later, I'm like, oh, wow, that was good.
That was good.
That was solid. But most of the time, I have no idea what happened. You almost blank.
Yeah.
And, that's usually how it goes, to be honest.
Okay, that's cool. That's very cool. So you were just talking about opening up for people. Who have you opened up for?
DJ Snake, 4B. just tons of different random people all throughout my time. Technically speaking, GTA, Gesture, Flostradamus.
Nice.
A bunch of guys, you know, who I was honestly super big fans of, who I'm now friends of.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. But yeah, so a bunch of those kind of shows there, early EDM stuff.
Well, I'm glad you used the word friends, right? It's good to have those connections for sure. Mm-hmm. But to call them friends, like I'm sure they are very chill people. You saying friends is like they're actually good people.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Yeah. Very rarely, especially in the EDM industry, I've rarely met people who aren't super cool.
Yeah.
There are of course, those couple who are really like themselves, you know, and they're super annoying. But besides that, just about everybody is super cool, super nice to hang out with.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's nice.
I think that's always been the culture persona of it, is to be open to everyone and to make everyone feel comfortable with each other, sort of deal. Like the unity aspect of it. Some people really go like the hippie route of it, and even I was on that a little bit with like the Reiki healing and everything like that at the festivals, and with the stones, the rocks, and the singing bowls and everything like that. I loved it. I was so open to that too, and everything like that. But I do think the main thing about EDM music is unity.
Yeah,
I truly think that is the whole point of it. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's another big appealing factor back in the day too, in 2010 and everything.
Yeah.
People involved.
It was awesome. It was like you said. It was the unity aspect made it just super cool.
Yeah.
Even just, you know, because you go to these festivals, shows. Some of them were during the school year, you know?
Yes.
So you'd go to these things, you hang out with people, and you come back to school. Yeah. Everyone has their shirts, their pennies on from the thing, and it's
telling
like
stories with each other.
It's an immediate click. You know, you get to class, and it's like, even if you didn't know this guy, you knew that this guy went to the thing you went to.
And now you're talking to them about what you were doing.
You know, and you know, like, the Freehold Township was like everyone.
It was huge.
And there was an immediate clicking with everyone where it was like, we all love this thing.
Yes.
And it was like, you know, there's one thing that we all love, it's this, and, you know, it was super cool.
Do you think that's more of a Jersey thing that like people are really into it?
Kind of.
Yeah.
At least like as strong as we had it, but even then, like, it wasn't even all of Jersey. Like, you find these weird pockets where it's like Monmouth County for sure.
Yeah.
North not as much, South not as much. For some reason though, Monmouth County was just so.
They were so into it. We locked
in heavy, and then it was just for years it was like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Jersey definitely had a crazy wave.
Yeah.
Well, I would say there's pockets all over.
For sure. Mm-hmm. What was the first festival you've been to?
Ooh, I guess technically maybe what was it called? Not. Easy would be one of the first ones.
Ooh, that was mine.
But I don't think I want to say even earlier than that.
Yeah.
I think it was the one that they had at Six Flags.
Oh yes, they had that.
Adventure in the Park.
Yes.
Adventure in the Park, I think, might have been my first one. So
I've never been, but I've heard of it.
So the first year I went, they changed. It went through so many phases. The first year was like, so they had the Lone Star Arena. That's a big stadium within Six Flags.
Yes.
The first year was super cool. It was like so new. Trying to figure out how to work this thing out, and it was a great time, super sick time.
Awesome.
You know, you're in the middle of Six Flags, like the music's happening, Medusa's going over behind it.
Yeah, right. It was right there.
Yeah, so you're like, it's crazy experience.
Yeah.
So like that would be in the first thing, all ages, like, you know, because most of the time you're too young to go to these things.
Right.
So, you know, we're young in school, going to this stuff. It was so sick. So I would say that would be the first, if I remember correctly. I think that was the first.
And you know, going to something like that at a younger age, it's like, oh my God, like, I'm an adult right now. Like, I am on my own. I'm having a blast. Like, I'm doing what I want and everything. Interacting with all these people. Like, it's a nice eye-opening experience of like partying, but like partying in like, I don't want to say mature way, but like in a positive way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I know Six Flags held a couple of things like that. I think there was like a paint party one that they did, like, you know, when we were still in school and everything like that.
I know Adventure in the Park they did for 2 years, and then they're like, we have to not do this anymore because
stuff.
The problem is, like, it's in the back of the park. So, like, you have these kids coming through the main entrance, walking through the park around actual kids. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and,
yes.
It's just not, you know what I mean? The first year was good because like everyone just kind of played it safe. The second year, everyone knew what to expect.
Yes.
And they made the second year 2 days. Disaster.
Yeah.
Disaster. So now, of course, you got people on things or not dressed appropriately, women and stuff, and men, just not dressed well, kids all over the park.
At a family themed park.
Didn't work out. So they cut that, but it was awesome. Actually, the first year, I was so excited. I was the first person at the festival.
Were you?
So early to the point, me and my friend Dave Benjamin, we got there so early that security was like, dude, you're good to be here, but like, just come with me real quick. So they like sat us behind the stage so they could keep doing sound checks. Like, when the sound checks are done, we'll let you guys back up. That's how early. We literally got there so early. Like, that's how novice we were at the time.
That's cool.
We got to the beginning of the festival. It was so it was great, and we really enjoyed it.
Hell yeah! What's the most recent one you've been to?
Actually, we just did EDC Orlando. Yeah. My friend 4B played, so I went out there with him just to support and have a good time and party up. So EDC Orlando.
I haven't been to EDC Orlando. I've been to New York a couple of times, but I don't even think they do New York anymore.
Cut it, and they need to bring it back.
I agree.
But it's just weird with MetLife, and now it's even weirder. Because at one point they had it like it was in the stadium. Like there was a stage in the stadium.
I don't think I was there for
that. Was like
those
one of the early ones, and then they rotated to like, all right, now no more stadium, parking lot. But then like it's like the sound. It's like you could hear the other stages from the other stages. It just became one of those things where like this just isn't gonna work.
Yeah.
People are really asking for it back. Actually, like really asking for it back. Because Izu has been doing a lot of weird things.
Well, because they went under new ownership, no?
Izu is now owned by the same people that own Brooklyn Mirage. Yes. And last year was just a disaster.
I think that was the first year they ran it, and I also heard it was a disaster.
People really just recently got their money like a couple months back, and that was a year before.
The refund. Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. It was just really bad. So. People are like, yeah, man, we just need to have EDC back, but we'll see.
So if that was last year, did they do Izu again?
I don't think.
They don't think so?
I don't think. If I remember correctly, I could be wrong. Maybe they did. I really don't remember. I don't want to say no, but I don't remember at least.
Yeah. I think Izu should definitely live on. Because it lives a very special place. It was my first festival.
Sick.
And I really didn't know what to expect and had a blast. I had a blast there. And then I've also been to, like I said, EDC New York after that. I've been to Nightmare Festival, which was a camp-out festival. Another camp-out festival, which is my favorite of all time. They unfortunately don't do it anymore since COVID. Camp Bisco.
Man, I forgot about that. I forgot that name.
Oh, dude!
I completely forgot that existed.
Yeah, man.
Camp Bisco.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A EDM festival, mainly dubstep, which is what I really started to migrate to as far as my interest in EDM. That with a water park, especially with like that wave pool right next to a stage.
Sick. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, game changer.
It was a game changer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very unfortunate that that's not running anymore. I know the Disco Biscuits, which is like this jam band, were the ones running it, and good for them that they still hold some other things at that same place and whatnot. They gotta bring Bisco back, man.
Yeah, they gotta bring it back. That's sick. I have done a lot of campouts. Never a camp out EDM festival. Every time I do camp out festival, just like music festival.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest, that's what I do more so now. Like at least going.
Yeah.
It's very rare that I go to an all EDM festival anymore, even though that's what I do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. I
could see that being why, because you want to differentiate it. You're so much in one field that you want a little bit of different.
Yeah. Also, I just hate like day one is great, but like. Day 2, waking up to the that's like oh man, like I just can't do this right now. I don't want to say I'm old, but in my older age, it's like oh man, I just can't do this right now. Now, more recently, we go to Bonnaroo for like the past.
Yes,
we stopped the last couple of years, but we were going for years, and like that's in Tennessee, and it's like the morning is like bluegrass and just indie bands, and like you wake up, you're like, oh, this is beautiful. You're in Tennessee, you're on a farm.
Yeah.
Like guitars. This is like my kind of thing. DJs don't start playing until 7:00.
Makes sense.
It's like this is it. Like this is perfect for me.
Yes.
I can chill throughout the day, party at night, all night, and then perfect. So that's more so what I do now.
I think I would enjoy that more nowadays than anything.
It's the best, especially because like Bonnaroo has a RV camping, so you can come with an actual RV.
Hell yeah.
Put people in it. Now you have your own shower, your own kitchen. Like you can actually just pretty much live here.
Yeah.
And it's a long festival. It's Thursday to Sunday, so it's 4 days.
Wow.
So and they allow you to come Wednesday and leave Monday. So you're pretty much there for a week. You know, you meet. There's thousands of people there.
Yeah.
Everyone that's in your camp. You meet, you hang out with, you almost become a family with.
Yeah.
Super cool.
That is awesome. I've heard of Bonnaroo. I never been, or really, to be honest with you, knew much about it. There's so many of them out there.
Oh, there's a lot.
There's so many.
And most are good. If you just throw a dart at the wall and with all, you know what I mean, you'll figure one out.
Yeah, it's not like you could go wrong necessarily.
Exactly.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the Jersey club music.
Okay.
I know you're big with that, and we could even transition that also into Reckless, because I know that's big with that as well. Jersey club, I know you are big with that. What got you into that specific genre of, I don't want to call it trap music, but I also feel like it's a little bit similar to it. Would you disagree with that?
So it's really its own thing. Like, it's really its own lane, especially now. So in the beginning, my friend Max, he actually lived in Orange, New Jersey, which is up north. Yes. They were way more tapped in, obviously, because we were in Monmouth County. Like that sound was not Monmouth County. Monmouth County was house, you know what I mean? Right. So it's a sound that really comes from the Newark area, the up north type, that's just where it came from. At least Jersey club. Yeah. So he moved from there to Freehold. He was in the marching band, so as was I. So we actually met him like in the summer leading up to school because his band came. Yeah. So, things happened. There's a song that came out called Number One. Number One is like the first iteration of the dance that most people know in Jersey Club and, the music style. So it was something I was like, all right, he showed it to us like, yo, we love this. Like, this is sick. Yeah. This is really cool. It kind of was derivative of like old Baltimore club stuff, which is a little bit different, a little bit older.
Interesting. I haven't heard any of that.
Yeah, they have like songs like they like those remixes of like SpongeBob SquarePants, and Dora the Explorer. Oh, like,
wait a minute!
You heard those?
I might have seen on TikTok.
I've seen those. Baltimore was really the mecca. Like Jersey Club became from Baltimore, and then like transitioned. So technically speaking, there's Baltimore, Jersey, and Philly Club. There's like a trinity.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Yeah, so Baltimore was first. Yeah. Jersey, if I'm correct. Jersey's second, and then pivots to also Philly. Yeah. That is a huge debate, so I could be wrong. I know DJ Sega, if you see this, I'm sorry, because I know he says that, Philly was before Jersey. I don't know. Yeah. He could very well be right. Yeah, sure. But I would say as of right now, Jersey Club is just the biggest. Yeah. But that's how it started. We loved it, from the jump. No one really understood it, in the town. And of course, like, I get it because, we're performing at assemblies that had nothing to do with what we were doing. Like it's a Shakespeare festival, and we're just on stage dancing. Like, it makes no sense. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Shakespeare, but we're here, Yeah. So it was something that, people for a long time were just like, this is, you guys are like, not like making fun, but like, this is ridiculous. You guys are ridiculous for this, And then now, of course, now you fast forward, and it's like, it's almost a sound right now.
It is.
And it's like, it was like, we were almost so ahead of that. And again, I guess that's almost why things kind of worked out the way they did. But yeah, it's how it started. And then, it just almost took a life of its own. Just almost staying true to this thing we loved. And then now it's the thing.
It's here. It is. So it's awesome. Here, and I think it's here to stay for a very long time.
It's almost like it's almost like putting one into a stock,
Oh, like, yeah.
This thing I like, this could blow up. But even if it does, like, I'm enjoying this. I'm having fun watching this thing go up and down. And then when it does blow, awesome. Yeah. And, and it really worked out. But even if it didn't get to this point, we were having so much fun, man. And even before it got, because we've been doing this for a while, even before this whole, like, new craze, Yeah. So we've been having fun with this for a long time. But now, of course, it just made it a lot easier with, all the artists are doing it now. It's huge.
I remember in the Freehold Township High School, the hallways even, forget the assemblies, that music would be playing, and I would, right by the entrance of the school, I'd walk past, you guys are dancing, doing the dances of Jersey Club and everything, I'm like, these guys are fucking sick. Bro.
And like, honestly, it's so crazy how life works, and like, I'm just a true believer in like fate and God or whatever, because just the way it all worked out. From that point, everyone in the school was listening to 4B at the time, who was doing these Jersey Club Paris sets, and it was huge at the time. Even people, he made it I don't want to say he made it digestible, but he played sets in a way that was clean and like just worked, you know, for all people.
Yeah.
So even people who were Free Township who were not from that northern type of audience enjoyed it, you know. And then of course then I ended up meeting 4B after we all were super big fans of him.
Yeah.
Now it's like my closest friend, you know. And then from here, it's like. It was almost just perfect how it all just worked.
Yes,
you know?
like puzzle pieces just coming together.
It was perfect. It was almost like everything is so orchestrated from the start.
Yes.
It's just insane how it all kind of worked out.
That's beautiful, actually.
It's sick. You know, we've done a lot of cool things, and honestly, everything has led to the next thing. It's always been like a cause and effect, almost immediately, and it's awesome.
Cause and effect, trust the process. I believe in all those things for the most part. You know, things also happen for a reason. Everything like that. That is incredible. As far as Team Reckless.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about that a little bit. So, as far as I understand, especially from because the name has been around for quite a while, it's a group of you guys with the dances. No, am I wrong on that?
Yeah. So it started out actually. So at first, it was a team called Flight Bros. That was a team. It was like split between Frio Township and Frio Borough. We both had groups of guys, so we all worked in. If you look up the videos, there's like a couple videos. Actually, we shot one at Frio Borough High School. Like a lot of different stuff on the steps. Actually, for some reason, tons of views. We don't know why.
Really?
But they were clicking. So we had thousands of views on the page.
Amazing.
During high school, we were doing this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it got to one of those things where it's like teams are hard without any people, and then some people also just have different they like doing this, but like they would rather do this than the third. So it is slowly like broke off to the main core, which is now Team Reckless, which is me, my friend Teray, and Paul.
Yes,
those are the main guys from the jump. We also have Shotgun Knights, who are artists now that we added on, and my brother Mike and and one person we're gonna add, but that's coming soon. But for right now, we have so we have a little slight roster. Tricks as well. So that's how it started. And it really just we've had people come and go, but that's the main group.
Yes.
We just always like doing this. And Teray is super out there. He's 1 year older than me. He's also the same way as me. He's just super open. Just always wants to dance and be in people's face. He's a singer. He's super open. That's just what Teray is.
Yeah.
Paul's the same way. Paul is just life of the party. Paul's smiling. He's laughing.
I agree with that.
You could hear Paul down the hallway. You know when Paul's in the area because he's having a good time.
Yeah.
So we just honestly just perfectly mesh. You know, us three. So it just became like the brotherhood.
That's the foundation right there.
Absolutely, and we really do. Also, I can't leave out Max. Max at the time, he's now with 1012, who's Nate Taylor, and then a bunch of other guys from Freehold.
Yeah.
But Max as well was super influential into the group from the beginning. So I can't leave him out. But yeah, that's how it started, and yeah, we're still kicking.
Hell yeah, man!
Having a good time.
That's awesome. I think that as far as like the views back in the day with the videos you made, I think it's something like you brought up before. Like it wasn't really, I feel like as known, it was something new. People didn't know what it was, and the people that are into it, and even if you weren't that into it, it was still interesting. Or it piqued the interest to watch these videos and everything like that. I think that's all how it really worked out.
I think what helped is like people weren't like. There's a guy DJ Little Man. There's a couple other guys who were doing music videos, but some people weren't. So like we were. Songs would come out, and we would do a video to that song. Not even really trying to, like, do their music video.
Right.
But we like this song. We want to do a dance video, so we're posting it. So now, people would almost associate that video with the song as... See what I mean? So now I'm looking at the song on YouTube. Our thing's coming up. It's like, I'm clicking on this.
Yes.
So we were almost kind of, like, taking views... Like, not even trying to. Like
from the actual artist of the song.
Just, we're just dancing. People just like that, so it just worked, So it helped from the beginning. And that started it all, for sure.
Wow. And you know what? Not even to down that artist of whatever song either. I'm sure that helped them out big time as well.
Yeah, 90% of the time they love it. A couple of instances where people are like, I'd rather you didn't do that. Cool.
Yeah.
But most of the time, everyone's like, you're more views for me, and more views for my song.
Yeah.
Because actually, to be honest, my most played record, or my most streamed record, I didn't post. Well, I did post, but it got taken down because SoundCloud is copyrights.
Right.
It's on a page that's not mine. And it's on SoundCloud and YouTube. Both pages are on mine. And I think they accumulated maybe like 5 million plays.
Way.
Not on my page, and I don't mind. Like, I really don't.
That's cool. I'm glad you don't mind.
Yeah, me and my friend 4B talk all the time. It's like that stuff doesn't really pay out much anyway.
Sure.
It's like if that guy gets some money off that, great. You know, to be honest, the fact that he posted it and, you know, it's helped the song take a life of its own, I can't even be mad at you.
Yeah,
if you didn't post it, it wouldn't have been that big, you know?
For sure.
So I don't even mind. Thank you, you know?
Yeah.
Now he's got 6 million views of mine, and it's okay. Like, I'm happy about it.
Good. Honestly, I love that mentality of it. The song gets a life of its own. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. How many songs have you created? I know that's like a very big question and probably a lot of thought because you've been doing this for a while too of how many you actually made. How about let's go with the songs that you like full out produced. What's like your roster as far as number wise for that?
So I've done a bunch of songs, man. Because some songs, you know, are just me. Some songs I'm collabing with other people.
Yeah, right.
It's been a ton. We have some stuff that's not out. Some things we threw away, like just kind of just released.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just no promo, just dropped.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
Stuff
Yeah,
like that. So we've done a bunch, man. Not a ton. I know artists that produce way more than me. I have friends of mine that, you know, you almost knew they were going to be successful because they were making 5 songs a day.
Yeah.
Some people just have a different work process, you know.
Sure.
But we did quite a bit. I'd say like songs that are really big. I'd say maybe like 15.
Yeah.
But we have so much stuff, you know, that we've been doing for a long time. So that's what I'd probably say. I
think 15 is a great number for the big stuff that you guys have created or you have created and whatnot. That is incredible there for that. All right, so I wanna relate this to like what I'm doing here with the podcast with this next question and whatnot. Okay. I've been doing this for a little bit and whatnot, as far as probably like 4 to 5 years or something like that, right? I get these moments of maybe I should just call it quits. I'm getting sick of this and whatnot. You know, whatever. What is a big motivation factor for you to keep going? And if you wanted to bring up any struggles that you've had with the career as well, too, you could bring that up. You don't have to. But what are the motivations that keep you going from those, say, struggles?
I say from the start of it all, if you're going into anything creative,
yes,
expecting like success and profit, quit. Because that's just not what this is. Like, it does come. It happens.
Just not right away at all.
It's not at all.
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't. Again, I know so many artists who are super famous.
Yeah.
Who are not struggling, but are still trying to make it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Big artists that you wouldn't believe.
Right.
And it's a tough, thing. I'd say the biggest thing is you gotta just love it, you know.
Yeah.
Like music again was something so to the core with me. Like even if I never made it, or even I don't make it even bigger than what I am right now,
sure,
you know, because I wouldn't say I made it, but if I never hit that next level, I'm so happy with just music, you know. I love it, you know.
You have to love it.
So that's where it comes down to. Like if you're doing it for the sake of like I just want to be successful. Go to school. Be a doctor.
I agree.
You know, because I think that's where you can find immediate success. Where I can go to a job, make great money.
Yes.
And like that's what you should do.
Yes.
You know, this kind of creative thing, I would only suggest you do if you don't mind failure, because that's what this is.
Yeah.
Like it's all failure, but in a good way. It's like,
yes.
It's almost like you fail forward.
Yeah.
It's like it's like we're not doing great, but we're adding this. You know, this week we got 13 more views than last week.
Right.
You know, it's this and that, and the third, it's just a slow process until you eventually build something that you're gonna love. So
yes,
I would always say just you gotta love it, and you gotta just have fun failing. That's the big thing.
I love both of those because if you're only there with the goal of to become successful and famous, even if you do get there just based off that motivation, it's almost a little artificial in a sense. And with that said, it may not last that long necessarily because you don't love it. And I could be wrong with that statement, but that's just my belief on it anyway.
Yeah, and it's also just like another thing is you gotta appreciate. I forgot what the number is in music. I think it says 10,000 hours, but it's like people say in music like you need 10,000 hours to be, you know, good at what you do and you know to be successful in what you do, right?
Yeah.
And you really can't skip those. Like, there's no way. I know people all the time who you can fake success. You know, so you can buy followers, you can buy likes,
right,
you can buy plays.
Yeah.
but it always shoots you in the foot because, for example, small example, it's like let's say you bought 100,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
Before that, you had 200. Now, as you know, the algorithm's horrible.
Yeah.
So now, those 200 people that maybe 50 were actually seeing your stuff.
Right.
Now, with the number of the fake followers you bought, now that number's probably 10 people out of the 200 that actually see it now.
Yes.
So I know so many artists who buy followers and stuff like that, and it works to a sense where people in the local area know you.
Yeah.
But it never translates to shows or success
Yes.
for most part. I do know a couple guys who have done it and it has worked out, but for the most part, it's you almost shoot yourself in the foot because you're not building something authentic.
Exactly.
You always want to touch the ground and really interact with people.
Yeah.
Of course we'll touch upon it, but with John and her, that was a huge thing in that where it's John, I just did a festival at EDC we just talked about.
Yeah.
I'm in the crowd at EDC and some guy who I knew was yo, I still have a note from John. And I'm just what? I was what? He's yeah, man, John was sending the clothes and he gave handwritten notes. It's I still had it.
Oh my God.
And I was that's the kind of stuff where it's you're building. You're not just giving someone things and just trying to just, it's nah, I want to cultivate something.
Exactly.
That people really enjoy and really want to latch on to.
100%. And in John's words, building a community too.
100%.
Yes. We could definitely talk about Johnny a little bit, and this next question will probably lead into that. The team, okay? How important is it to have a good team around you in either supporting you in what you're doing with your creative career or even helping you out on stage, making music with you? Is it the biggest factor, if not one of the biggest factors for you?
It is without a doubt the biggest factor.
Yeah.
It's again, people have done it themselves. It's very hard to do.
It's very hard, yes.
It's very hard to do. And it's not only having a team, it's the right team, right?
Yeah.
So you really want to just be surrounded by people who harbor no jealousy,
Correct.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And people that just also just genuinely want to see you win.
Yeah.
Because there's some people that I've had people, where it's they want to see you win, but they also want to be winning just as much as you.
Right.
And you want to make sure that sometimes it doesn't happen like that.
Right.
For example, 4B, he's my big homie.
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously the big homie. It's clear, and I support him to the death. He everyone knows. He knows. It's a support thing.
Yes.
I have supported him.
Yes.
For so long, and that's the point. It's we help each other.
Yeah.
It's you can never do it yourself. There's so many things I've given 4B. Pointers on music-wise or just streaming-wise or just a whole bunch of stuff, and vice versa. You know? If I didn't have him in my corner, I don't know, from the expertise and the people he's introduced me to, it's that's the point.
For sure.
The whole point is to network with people and be what I have is for you, what you have is for me.
Yeah.
And let's just have fun and make something, So that is the biggest thing. If I tell anybody, that is you gotta have it. It doesn't have to be big. My team is very small.
Mm-hmm.
Very small. But we come through like a unit and we leave. It's almost militant. We come in, we do what we got to do, get in the car, go home.
Yes.
And handle business. So it's very important.
I 100% agree, and you're right. You don't have to have the biggest team either. You really don't. I mean, I think the most important thing is having the trustworthy team. That's what you need.
Huge.
It is huge, and that goes with trial and error too.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have either a bad egg in a sense that's a part of the team, or not even in the worst way. You could have it. The view on certain ways to go with a project might start to split past. It's all right, maybe this isn't the project we work together on.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to end in bad feelings at all or anything like that.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. It's very important. The team it's me and Luke, for the podcast and whatnot. We have a blast. I love that it's actually pretty damn small like that too. To go back and forth with ideas and everything like that. And this is where I want to bring Johnny up because he helped us out so much with logos and ideas for episodes of the podcast and everything like that he started to become a member of the team. I would talk to him all the time, through text, all the time about certain things. He did a photo shoot for us to make posters for this podcast and everything like that. And he was a huge help, and he really was just incredible. And I really want to bring him up and really just pay respects to him because, and I could tell just from the way you're speaking and being very open why he was like your best friend and everything like that, and vice versa and everything like that. And you know, I think he did a great job supporting anyone, especially in the Monmouth County, New Jersey area, in the creative fields, and to really strive for what they dreamed for.
Absolutely. That was John's whole thing. Was like community.
Yes.
That was John's whole thing. Was like, I just want to build a community, and let's just have, you know, a bunch of people, you know, that we all just kind of just connect and just have fun and grow.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he succeeded.
He did succeed.
You know,
absolutely.
In the craziest way. You know, again, it went from, you know, just making random print stuff in his basement to, you know, his clothes was worn on festival stages.
Yeah.
For, you know, by big DJs.
Yeah.
So it's like, and again, that goes right back to doing it the right way.
Exactly.
You know, you could do it the wrong way. You could pay. You could do this, that, and the third. But like doing it the right way,
authentically and with good heart.
Oh, you just can't beat it.
You can't beat that.
You just can't beat it, and people know. People always know. You can always tell a faker. Yeah. And someone who really genuinely, like, you know, cares about this.
Agreed.
So he was the best at all that.
Yeah, I've been to his studio a couple of times, and I know you would even be playing music on live streams and whatnot over there too.
Actually,
at the mothership.
I don't think you remember, but I was there one day when you were there.
What was it during the photo shoot of it?
No, you guys.
Oh wait, we were filming a gaming episode. We were doing Castle Crashers. I do remember that, dude. That was a blast.
That was a good night.
That was a blast. I had fun with all you guys there on the episode, off the episode. Yeah, that was a great time. That really was a great freaking time, man. Sure. Yeah. But yeah, you know, just Johnny, love you, man. Always will.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah. Rest in peace. Great guy.
Absolutely.
And you know, back in high school too, he was the funniest guy. He was. Once I reconnected with him too later on after high school, still the funniest guy and just awesome.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Awesome. So we're gonna round it all up back to the beginning here.
Okay.
As far as your biggest inspiration for starting this up, and after we get into that, we're gonna close it up with two other questions. But let's start off with what the biggest inspiration for you was.
So I have a couple, right? So I'd say, so you got, of course, you have your close emotional, and then you have like your actual inspirations.
Sure.
So I always think back to, you know, when I was a kid, my dad's early roommate, just I want to say, maybe I'm saying his name wrong. I don't remember. My dad had a roommate who was a DJ.
Okay.
When I was young. I wish I had him here to tell me his name. I was a really young kid.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like One Love or something like that. But yeah, he had like the actual crates, the vinyls, stuff like that. Yeah. I used to watch him, and he was nice. Like when as a kid, I could tell like, okay, this guy's.
He's got it.
He's got it.
Yeah.
So it's like slowly, it's like, you know, I've always just been around it. So like, I would say my dad was huge as far as, you know, putting me around good music, putting me around people who also understood good music.
Yes.
Like, every time I was with my dad, that's how it went. That kind of way. Musically, you know, different kind of feels. I'd have to say, Donald Glover.
He's awesome.
Huge. Especially at the time, it just resonated with me in a sense of like, it was the same kind of feeling where it was like, it was just like, it was in some words, and some people would say corny, but like personally authentic, and I could resonate with the topics and you know.
Yes.
It completely resonated with me in that sense. Flo Stradamus, huge.
Yeah.
I see Flo's all the time, and I don't tell Kurt like how much, because it's awkward conversation.
Yeah,
but I could never really explain to Kurt how much he like inspired me, man.
Yeah.
Him when it was him, and when they had a duo, man, like Flo Stradamus was captivating. You see him on stage, and it was like I would hate to play after them.
Right.
Because they are crushing. I see them play more than anyone. Because, you know what I mean? I've seen them so many times. So, DJ wise, Flo Stradamus was huge, and of course, I'd say people like 4B and Sling.
Yeah. Very nice. Okay, and then we're gonna lead up to. I actually thought of a third question for the very end. But all right, the next question would be, what are a couple things you have planned for the year of 2025 as far as musically, maybe performing, events? What do you have in store? Or if it's stuff that hasn't been announced yet and you want to keep that on the burner, that's fine too.
So we do this year, 2025. So of course we always have this one thing called the 9 a.m. banger. That's an all the time thing. I don't play every show. I play most of them.
Yeah.
With 9 a.m. banger is like a day party. It's what it sounds like. It's the 9 a.m. party.
Yeah.
The line's around the corner by 8 o'clock.
Wow.
And people are there all day.
Where is this?
So it's in New York. It always switches venue.
Yeah.
We've done Brooklyn Mirage. We've done Terminal 5. We've done all the venues in New York.
Yeah.
And so like that's always a thing to check out for sure. We have a ton of music coming out. So now this year I really want to start like transitioning back to getting the label right. Or not the label, I wouldn't consider a label, with the team right.
Yeah.
So we do have other artists. Last couple of years has been kind of just trying to get back into the swing of things.
Sure.
Because of course COVID messed everything up.
Everything.
And then of course right after COVID was Johnny. So it was just years of just trying to like get my bearings back.
Yes, right.
Technically speaking, like 4 years, you know?
Yeah.
So now that we're getting back, expect a lot from Shotgun Knights, like I said before. They're a trio, great group of friends. I love them to death. Very, very talented producers. Very talented. There's a couple other guys who we are going to be adding this year that you could check out. It'll be coming towards probably close to summer.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, and then so mostly just a ton of music, ton of shows, and just having fun.
Very nice. And as far as like an overall or maybe a little bit in the future to way in the future goal of yours, is there something that comes to mind for you?
You know what? It's like, it's crazy because it always changes. Like if you would ask me this 5 years ago, I would give you a totally different answer.
Sure.
But now it's like at this age, like I love DJing, love it so much. But I really want to transition into throwing events.
Yes.
It's just always been something I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, to be honest, this state needs it. There's a new party called Bounce to Bounce. I just played that.
I just saw you post that on your Instagram.
Sick. Besides, like, they've got it, you know?
Yeah.
Besides them, though, it's awful right now in Jersey. Awful. Any DJ to tell you. I won't say which clubs, but some clubs are closing, some of the biggest ones in the state.
Get out.
I got inside knowledge.
Oh,
a lot of places aren't going to be here by the end of the year.
Why obviously you don't got to drop the names, but why do you think this is because of?
You know what? There's so many answers to that.
Really?
So,
okay.
One, it's just, we didn't, not say we, because I'm not involved in that, but like, this new generation, they don't care about that. Like, my sisters are in college, she's in Rutgers.
Yeah.
None of them are like, I want to go find a cool club. That's just not what they want. These kids now, like, I want a house party.
Right.
I want to rage. Like, they want, like, Project X vibes.
Yes.
Like, that's what these kids want.
Right.
They don't really want the glitz and the glam of a really nice club. One. Two, people are not getting outpriced. You know, where it's like, $20 at the door, $15 per drink. So before you know it, like, I spent $100. Like, was it as fun as what I spent? Probably not.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But then, of course, just little things, you know? Not paying artists at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's little things to where the point where you just start checking off boxes to where things just start going bad and going bad. Less people start
burning
showing
bridges,
up.
too, and whatnot. Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's sad because, you know, these are big staples in the state. But that's just how the cycle goes.
I guess so. But I you know, even with that said, that is very sad to hear. But I think there will be, hopefully, a re-emergence.
And I think that's what you need. You almost need to tear it down
and build it back up.
Yeah, because like, again, this new team, Bounce to Bounce, those guys are young.
Yeah.
I want to say his name is Xenon. Hopefully I said that correctly. Xenon is like the guy who's running it. Okay. Young kid. When I met him there, I was like, oh man, you're like, oh okay. Like you're like, not. I don't want to say he's got to be like maybe 23, 24. He seemed like pretty young.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I'm
okay.
like, dude, you've made like, this is a sick party.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Very sick party. But that's what we need. So like, cycling back to the question, we need that.
Yeah.
You know, we need that in different ways. So that's in Jersey City. I would love to have like a really sick party near the area. Of course, Monmouth County is not a party area.
Right.
But maybe Shore or something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
That's in my future. I mean, I would love to throw a festival.
Oh, dude.
That's the dream. But amount of money and insurance. And
I mean, I'm sure insurance is the craziest, biggest thing of it all.
Yeah, but you could just do something like, there's a company called Brownie's Lemonade.
Yeah.
Brownie's Lemonade are like, they do shows all over.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a festival or anything like that, but they do shows all over, well respected, always pop-ups, and like they pop up and sell out, no matter where it's at, LA, New York, Florida, Texas.
The respectable name.
Absolutely. If they pop up, it's sold out.
Yeah.
Like, it's sold out. And the artists that they're going to book are going to be sick too, so like, yeah, it all works out. So that's, super goal of mine is to throw a festival.
I love that because I tried, or it was in the very early stages of it, I tried to throw a little festival at this freaking house in the backyard called Ferenc Festival, and the idea was, at the time, all the artists, either rock bands, rappers, DJs, whatever, would perform. Those people that I interviewed on the podcast, I would invite to perform for people, like here in the backyard. I would have called it Ferenc Festival, a little cute little thing. Even that is a difficult task to coordinate.
Oh yeah, I mean, even the little things as far as parking.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
I was trying to figure that out. Like, oh shit, maybe I should get a porta potty. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that, sick. Little things like that.
Yeah, it's sick. So actually, this year I really we've always been talking about it, or at least I've been talking about it with my friends. I think we're gonna try it this year in the summer now that we have time.
Yeah.
I would like to do a carnival.
Ooh.
That's my plan. I have a location I know of that we've booked them before.
Yeah.
Just renting put a stage up on the pavilion, just a bunch of just blow up and just games and stuff like that all around. Get vendors and just do it, in the summer. And the hardest thing with Jersey is always just weather. You know? Trying to plan ahead in Jersey is like good luck.
I agree.
And there's nothing worse than planning something out and then the week comes and it's raining.
Exactly.
Now you just wasted all this money and then it's the worst. So.
You're definitely right about that, especially with Jersey. Like, apparently we're getting some big snow tomorrow, but I don't even know if I trust what they're saying about it until we see it tomorrow.
You never know. And even if they tell you it's going to be sunny, sometimes it'll still rain.
Right.
So you just really never know. But that is, I would love to still do that.
Yeah.
Throw a nice carnival, just something, again, just something in the area.
I think that's such a good thing, that's such a good idea to do, honestly. Such a good idea. It'll bring people together, families together, building a community that maybe got lost a little over COVID, let's say, or something like that, and just have something going on over here, or wherever you're planning on doing it. You know what I mean? That's a great idea, dude. You should. You should.
We're gonna try it.
Yeah.
Now that I actually, it's beginning of the year. I always usually think about it again during the summer, and it's like by that time you're too far.
Well, right. It's because the weather's warm. It's like, oh, this would have been perfect.
Yeah,
right
I know. So now you really got to try to plan it. Try to look up what are the hottest weekends usually of the summer.
Yes.
And just try to do it.
Okay, man. Very nice. I love to hear it. Last thing I'm going to ask you, a little less related to the music and everything, or it still could be. We mainly talk about movies, me and Luke here on the podcast, so I would like to know your perspective as far as your favorite genre of movies, and then maybe give a quick, it doesn't have to be quick, because it takes a lot of thinking, your top 3 favorite movies of all time. That is a lot of thinking, because that would be hard for me.
So before I get into that, I always do this disclaimer.
Sure.
Because, all my friends know, I, oddly enough, haven't seen, a ton of, critically acclaimed, of course I've seen a lot of them, but some movies that I haven't seen, you'd be shocked that I haven't seen.
Sure. Okay.
So, I have a list that I've been cultivating of just stuff, I've never seen.
But, it's on the list to watch.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Never seen Forrest Gump. I've never seen a Star Wars film.
Oh, wow. And I'm not even the biggest Star Wars fan, and I'm like, oh, wow.
The list is so long of stuff, just for some odd reason. There's just stuff, I don't know why, just stuff I just never saw. Yeah. But, so just to say that, it's just always a weird thing that people, I'll show them my list, and they'll be like, dude,
you gotta watch.
Figure it out. Get it together.
Right.
So, my friend now, she actually just showed me, I just watched, what was the one with Adam Sandler golfing?
Oh, Forrest Gump.
No, not Forrest Gump.
I'm sorry. What is it? Happy Gilmore. Happy
Just seen it for the first time this week.
Yeah.
Last week.
It's an awesome movie.
Also, the same thing with him in school when he thinks he's younger than he is.
Oh, Billy Madison.
Just seen all this stuff like recently.
Yes,
like it's very odd. But back to the question at hand. So my favorite. So it was for a long time. I loved superhero movies.
Me too.
Of course, these last couple years have gotten odd.
Yeah.
So I love comedies too.
Me too.
Love comedies. I just don't like to watch. Depends. I usually don't watch movies till late at night. Yeah. And when that's the case, I don't want to watch something with like too much drama and like.
Agreed. Where you have to pay attention too much to it.
I like to put a comedy on, and I feel like that's kind of the reason why I haven't seen a lot of things. I find peace in stuff I've seen before because I don't have to pay attention.
Sure, yeah.
So I've seen some of the same movies over and over again.
Yeah.
Over and over again. Now, my favorite movies. So I'd have to go. Winter Soldier.
Oh my God, it's so good, dude.
Man. That was such a peak film.
It was so peak.
Really was one of the most. I mean, that is a really good movie.
It's so good.
Winter Soldier was so good.
The hand-to-hand combat when Cap and Winter Soldier are fighting on like that highway or whatever. Mm-hmm. Incredible.
And you gotta love a story where the villain isn't like just some guy shooting electric. You know?
Oh no, he's like a tactical, military guy who's actually not really that bad of a guy.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's very layered.
It was a great story.
Very layered. Yeah,
great story.
Yes.
Yes. And for a while, I think that put Cap's trilogy on top as far as trilogies.
Agreed.
It was unreal between that Civil War. Just unreal how they worked it out.
Before you continue, I do want to say something else about Cap's trilogy too, because I think it's the best trilogy of the MCU. The transition and progress of Captain America's attitude as being this not vulnerable but very open guy to everybody, government and everything, and him starting to close up as he starts to realize who he could trust and everything. You see that attitude change throughout all three films, especially in Civil War.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. It's incredible. I'm sorry.
I grew to hate him at the end. Not hate him, but just the way it all went with Tony. It was a very weird situation.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a fake thing. And they worked it out.
Yeah.
But it was like, man, that was just so weird. The whole situation of like, you've been friends with this guy for mad long,
and now fighting each other.
And now you're fighting him with some kid you knew from so long ago.
Right.
It was just such an odd story.
Yes.
But that to each his own.
Yeah.
As far as other movies, man. So I'll go back to when I was a child. There was nothing I loved more than Space Jam.
Oh,
nothing,
dude.
When I was a kid, it was like I had a VHS. My mom would tell you I'm surprised I didn't wear the tape out on that thing.
Dude,
I was watching Space Jam every day.
I would be watching
every day,
almost every day too on VHS.
Great,
it's
it was
incredible.
So good.
It was so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And now let me try to give a movie that's not so fantasy.
Those are two very good choices, by the way. I think you're doing a great job so far.
Let me think of a movie that's not so... You know what? We'll just do...
How about... Could I suggest something?
Sure.
Favorite comedy. Like,
Ooh,
I mean, you could put Space Jam...
I'm happy you just said that. You just woke me up.
Go ahead.
This is the end.
Dude, that's
this
so
is the
good
end.
too.
I'm so happy you just said that because it shocked me up. I would have regretted this later. Me and my friend Paul, all of us, like we love that movie. Like we quote it all the time.
Yeah.
This is the end was so perfect for the just simple fact of like, I love a movie where it's like they're playing themselves. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like you have to like watch these characters. It's like, dude, it's just like it's almost real because
they're making fun of themselves.
It's the best, and like that cast, oh man, it was so good.
And the best part is the chemistry is great because they are the best of friends. Mm-hmm. And then I mean, one of the best parts is when they're trying to do the exorcism to Jonah. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Is it really that compelling? Isn't that compelling?"
It's so funny.
It's
so funny. And even dude, that whole movie is just so good. Start to
so
end.
Good, so ridiculous, but in the greatest way possible.
Absolutely.
I agree with it. That's one of my favorite comedy movies ever too.
So good.
Did you? And I brought this up in the last podcast I did with Luke as far as comedy movies. You don't really see a lot of that stuff anymore, like in theaters or anything like that. Like I feel like one of the last ones was either This Is the End that was really good like that, or like Ted.
Yeah.
I will say one thing. There was this movie produced by Seth Rogen that came out a little while ago, Good Boys. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't seen that, no.
check it out. I think you'll get a couple good laughs from that movie. It's like Superbad, but with even younger kids. No, they're not necessarily trying to get alcohol and throw a party or whatever.
Oh, now that you're talking about. Now I know exactly what you're talking about, yes.
They're the most innocent kids, and it's R-rated. It's excellent.
I love that. Excellent. Now I know exactly what you're talking about. Now I need to see that.
I think you got to add it to the list for sure. It's a good comedy movie.
I just love those kind of movies.
Me too.
Just like a really stupid, like you said, they don't really make that anymore.
No, they don't.
I don't know if it's because like it's really not a big sell. I can't imagine this the end sold well.
I'm not too sure.
Because even a movie like Grandma's Boy, like I don't know if you know what that is. So Grandma's Boy bombed.
Yeah, right. Yes, I know.
And then it became a cult classic when it went to DVD.
Yep.
So it's like sometimes people don't want to take that risk because like it's not a blockbuster.
No.
I don't even know some directors even started coming out and be like, listen, if it's not a Marvel movie, like people just don't want it.
It's hard. It's very hard nowadays. Or even like a franchise sequel in general. Mm-hmm. Very hard to get.
No one's really going to the movies anymore.
I mean, you're right.
That's the biggest thing.
I still love it.
Oh yeah, I go.
Love it.
Honestly, but realistically, I really only actually go for like a superhero movie.
Yeah, no, because
Sadly.
it's because of the spectacle of it. It's always an event.
I think the biggest thing too is spoilers.
Yeah.
With everything else, like you could see a scary movie late.
Sure.
Because you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But like if you don't see some of these movies the day of,
that weekend of,
you're cooked.
You go on YouTube, you're cooked.
You're cooked. I mean, so many movies have gotten spoiled that to the point where now, like when a movie comes out, I'll like go on Twitter and you can like mute words.
Yeah, yes.
So we'll mute phrases and like I just don't want to know anything.
I've never done that actually. I should start.
I'm telling you,
that.
The week before is the best thing to do because a movie like Deadpool that just came out. I don't know
if
you've seen it. The amount of cameos, I didn't know any of them. My friend went next to me; he knew a couple of them.
Yeah,
and I was happy that I didn't. Because if you're gonna see this, spoiler alert.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Gambit, I love. Like,
I love.
It's one of my
Gambit.
favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
So like I didn't know, because I knew how they were trying to make the movie and it just failed and failed.
Yes.
So I'm just watching it. My friend knows, and he just waited for me to see it. Then he comes on the screen, and I'm like, "This is what?"
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like if I'd known that beforehand, it would just ruined it for me. So
right.
Yeah, that's
I agree with
the biggest thing. So.
Those are the biggest spoilers on the internet.
They created a thing where you have to see it early, so I guess it worked out for them.
Oh yeah, they got the system down pat. Even if the content isn't as great nowadays, still getting great money, and the opening weekends are still incredible.
Absolutely.
I know I'm always there.
Absolutely.
For the opening.
In unpopular opinion, I don't think the Wave 4 has been terrible. I know
it hasn't been terrible. I'm just saying that it hasn't been as great.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like Phase 3 of the MCU.
And that was the problem.
Peak.
I think they should have took sidebar. I think they should have took like 3 years off. Yeah. I think that they like doing Endgame and then just going into Spider-Man.
I know
was just a bad idea.
I agree.
I think like you should have just took a year to just be like, all right, endorphins settle.
Yeah.
Let's start.
I 100% agree.
And Infinity War to Endgame was just too good.
It was chef's kiss.
Masterpiece.
Perfect. It was the Endgame.
My gosh,
it was the perfect ending, and by perfect ending, it's the ending of that era.
Oh my god.
100% should have waited a year.
I would have at least waited a while.
Yeah.
And they knew it. They say it now too. Like they try to jump into shows, into like.
They got it too oversaturated.
Way too fast, and it was like we're all still trying to figure out what happened there.
Agreed.
It's like
agreed,
this was so. Actually, funny enough, I saw Endgame twice that same day with 2 different groups.
Oh wow!
So I'd seen it. I had two different groups wanted to see it. I was like, honestly, I'm down to see both.
Yeah.
So I saw it, and then immediately saw it again with another group.
Good for you.
I saw Endgame twice, and it was better the second time.
I think not all on the same day, not even 2 in the same day, but I think I saw it 3 times in theater. Infinity War, which I actually like better than.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's the biggest consensus.
Yeah. I think I saw that twice, but because of it being the conclusion, I saw Endgame. I believe it was 3 times.
Oh man, that feeling. And an Endgame, you're just like, dude, this is
with 3 different people, 3 different groups. I mean, too.
Yeah.
I love to see other people's reactions to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's one of the best feelings for me. I love that.
Yeah, it was amazing. And honestly, another thing going back to, going to the movie's opening night.
Yeah.
The energy in the crowd.
Amazing.
Like, everyone's screaming or cheering.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't gone to an opening night of a movie like that,
you have to.
You have to, because it's so funny. It's packed. Everyone's having a great time.
And for those who haven't experienced it, will probably fall in love with those movies because of something like that.
It's the best. There's no energy like it in the theater.
No. Not. You're right.
And to be honest, I don't think I've ever even seen a packed theater since. That's not a superhero movie, to be honest, in a long time.
Yeah, well, Yes, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. But very good choices for your favorite movies
Thank
there. I would have to agree with them. They're good ones.
Thank you, sir.
Listen, we're gonna close this up, but before we do, I would like you to let the people know where they could find you on social media and everything like that, and where they could find the updates. Probably still social media of whatever shows and everything coming up.
Yeah. So you can follow me on anything at @IamStevieG_. That's the same thing on all the platforms. Pretty much really just Twitter and Instagram mostly.
Yeah.
You can find me on there. I see my SoundCloud as well, I think. If you look up IamStevieG, it should also come up. So you can find just about everything there. And you'll always find my updates on my stories. And we post that just about every day. I post a lot just about every day, so you'll be super up to date.
Very cool. And all that will just have been shown on the screen. But if you missed that out on it, or not all of it, it'll be in the description below, too, for you guys. Steve, I want to thank you so much. I had a great conversation with you.
Yeah, man, great to do this. Finally,
yeah, absolutely. And honestly, I would love to have you back on to talk about other things, too. Whatever topic you want, you let me know.
Absolutely.
Come back on
Absolutely.
here,
Maybe one day we'll bring the team.
Oh, dude.
That'd be sick.
I would love that. I would love that. Absolutely. We'll plan something for that for sure in the future. But yes, listen, guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments below. Also, make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and follow us on all social media platforms at Loggin On. And listen, have a great night, a wonderful night, and a happy new year. But until then, peace out.
Your mind is still active. You have to keep focusing on the breath because you're getting comfortable with the breathing pattern. If you might feel fidgety, you might be agitated, like anything that you've kind of been holding on to, the breath is kind of surfacing to clear. So the first 5 to 15 minutes even can be a little uncomfortable.
Sure.
But that's okay because it's teaching you to kind of move through, just keep breathing, keep sticking with it, move through the discomfort, you're okay, you're safe, just keep moving, and then it starts to become a lot more fluid. And it's in that place that you are able to kind of let the mind just starts to drift away, and that's when the visions start to come in, or you hear the guidance, or you start to notice sensations or experiences in your body. I'm holding space for that experience. It's like, I like to call it your midwifing, in the sense where I'm not having the experience, but I'm helping you feel safe to dive into whatever experience you need to have.